Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for January the 9th of 2020. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams, and this is a daily gaming news podcast bringing you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, right here on YouTube and podcast services around the world. So, if you enjoy the show, you like what you see, be sure to hit that subscribe button and keep coming back for more. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's top news. First off, Amazon's Twitch is not meeting ad revenue expectations, a report from The Information, as reported on by Forbes. While Amazon's Twitch dominates the live streaming landscape, a new report from The Information, citing people familiar with the company financials, says it only translated into a modest $230 million in ad revenue for 2018 and a mid-year annual projection of $300 million for 2019. According to the report, which was hoping to see ad revenues between $500 million and $600 million in 2019, with the service eventually hitting $1 billion. Partnered streamers on Twitch share revenue from commercials with the option of running ads at will with the push of a button during streams, but the majority of earnings for top streamers and Twitch come from premium subscription revenue that is shared with Twitch. YouTube, in comparison, is thought to bring in billions off of ad revenue alone, and according to Laura Martin, an analyst at Needham & Company, the service at a standalone business could be worth up to $300 billion after Google acquired it in 2006 for $1.65 billion. Part of Twitch's strategy is expanding beyond its gaming roots, with its variety just chatting category rising 42% to 651 million in total hours watched in 2019, ranking behind only League of Legends and Fortnite, according to analyst firm Stream Elements. Again, they are the market leader in streaming with 73% of the market share, according to Stream Elements, but it is being chipped away at by YouTube, Mixer, and Facebook, all of which have signed major streamers away from Twitch. Now, key background is what is being shared by the author of the article, which I don't necessarily agree with here. Top gamer Tyler Ninja Blevins set off a bidding war late last summer when he signed an exclusive streaming deal with Microsoft's Twitch competitor, Mixer. Facebook, YouTube, and Startup Caffeine have since signed exclusive streaming deals with former Twitch stars. The moves have just slightly aided Twitch's substantial lead in the market, but the long-term impact could be substantial. Regardless, YouTube has a distinct advantage over all other streaming platforms. No matter the content creator, after they have finished streaming for hours on end, they generally make a 10 to 20 minute highlight video to upload to YouTube. The big number is $970 million. That is what Amazon paid for Twitch in 2014. And so, of course, I don't agree with the fact that the giant migration of top talent from Twitch to various platforms that have purchased them is necessarily driving the ad revenue down. The big story here is the fact that the ad experience on Twitch is absolute utter garbage. I mean, that's really what's driving the ad revenue down. More and more people are using ad blockers because of just how cumbersome the ads can become, especially whenever it comes to people that are not subscribed to specific channels, people that might not have Twitch Turbo, which is a way to get rid of ads entirely on Twitch. If you don't have these, the experience for Twitch becomes very bogged down, especially for somebody that jumps around to various streams at a pretty high pace. For instance, in my personal experience, I watch Twitch by jumping into one stream that I'm pretty comfortable with, that's a larger stream, and then I might go check on other people, see how they're doing. So every time I click on a stream, generally, unless I'm subscribed or I have some kind of subscription, I simply have to watch an ad. That's the nature of the beast, I understand, but at the same time, man, it becomes very, very repetitive, very, very tiresome, and it eventually drives people away from the site if they get fed up with the ad experience. And so the big thing that really needs to be done on Twitch's end is to fix the ad experience itself. You have to really work on figuring out how to bake ads into the experience so that people don't mind supporting the platform by watching ads. Even if you did put one above the chat box, if you put one on screen below the stream itself, wherever you need to put a real estate kind of ad, that would work much better than completely covering up what I'm actually trying to watch for the better part of 1 to 2 minutes. Now, picture-in-picture is a feature they have been trying to add for a while, and it was announced at TwitchCon, which was phenomenally received. People love the idea of having a picture-in-picture kind of ad revenue setup, where whenever you do jump into a stream, the stream itself gets floated up into the right-hand corner of the screen, and then you get to watch the ad. Whenever that's wrapped up, stream comes back down, boom, you miss none of the action, but you still get to see an ad. Ad revenue goes up for them, all is well. However, that hasn't been implemented for the wide variety of people watching Twitch. The majority have never seen that before in their lives. So, you need to roll that puppy out, but this is not shocking whatsoever because I have seen tons and tons of people discussing how bad the ad experience can actually be on Twitch. And again, the subscription model has been borked for quite some time. Again, when you had Amazon's Twitch Prime, then that was potentially a way to get rid of ads. But as that grew and evolved, Twitch Prime began to cut back on some of the features, ads being one of the things they took away, or the lacking of ads, whatever you want to say. You used to have Twitch Prime, you didn't get ads. Now you have Twitch Prime, you get ads, but you can buy Twitch Turbo again. It's very confusing. However, I do want to highlight something that Sam Strake, a streamer Twitter aficionado, tweeted out, which I kind of related to here. To put Twitch's scale into perspective, Twitch earned about $700 million in revenue last year per reports. Jeff Bezos makes about $9 million every hour. The average person spends about 70 hours pooping every year. Per year, Jeff Bezos literally makes more money shitting than Twitch brings in. So, I don't know about the accuracy of these figures. I cannot confirm nor deny this. But the fact of the matter is, Twitch is an afterthought to Amazon. They are somewhat of an asset. They aren't necessarily going to be the driving force behind Amazon's revenue. That's not what Twitch is meant to be. Amazon's asset is Twitch. Twitch is nothing more than an accoutrement, if you will. If you buy a hamburger, Twitch is one of the pickles. That's the way I'm seeing this. And so it doesn't really matter if they are profitable or not. Of course, every company wants to be profitable, and the better they do, the more funding they get, etc. So, I understand the approach from there, but it looks like ads are not necessarily getting them there. However, PlayStation 5's most unique elements and biggest changes have yet to be announced according to Sony. Despite the fact that we have not actually seen the console, we know a decent amount about the PlayStation 5. Sony has already shared info on a number of features, including hardware-based ray tracing, 3D audio, and the console's ultra-high-speed SSD, but how much don't we know about the next-gen system? According to Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan, there is much more to learn. In a juicy interview with Business Insider Japan, as translated by Gematsu, Ryan talks up the PlayStation 5 and what it's capable of without giving too much away. However, he also teases unique elements and bigger differences that Sony is not ready to reveal yet. There are still more unique elements for PlayStation 5 to come that separate it from previous consoles. The bigger differences have yet to be announced, says Ryan. It's an intriguing quote that certainly got us wondering what the company has up its sleeve. What more would you like to see from the PlayStation 5? And of course, you can guess at your will in the comments on pushsquare.com. Now, I have nothing to really say here as far as what I predict is going to be included with the PlayStation 5, because quite frankly, I want to be surprised. I want to be blown away. I don't want to be able to predict what's coming because that's their job. Innovate, excite me, get things going, pump some new ideas into the world because consoles have generally been pretty stagnant except for the console upgrades. That's basically where they've been coming from in terms of what the next console brings to the table. But we're approaching this point at which the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, yes, there are enhancements that can be made, but with the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X, yes, some slight graphical tweaks can be made, but we're getting to a point when games look so good, you're going to have to bring other stuff to the table. You're going to have to introduce new features that get people out, that get people excited about a new console, because right now, a lot of people, the majority of gamers, are perfectly happy with the consoles they've got because they look good, they run well, things are high quality. And so you've really got to push the envelope and say, hey, this is the next big thing. This is what you can experience with a PlayStation 5. This is what you get with an Xbox Series X, instead of just saying, the graphics are now better. Side by side, yeah, you can see it, but is it worth $600, $500, however much this console is going to be? I suppose we will have to wait and see, but glad to hear the unique elements and biggest changes have yet to be announced. PlayStation 5, shaping up to be pretty interesting. By the way, I did want to mention, I saw that Mike Ybarra, I believe is his name, he was a 20-year Xbox veteran, said that he is going to be going with the PlayStation 5 for his next console and then doing the other gaming he does on PC. So, if the, multi-decade Xbox veteran is on the fence about the Xbox Series X, maybe, I don't know, things could be shaken up. However, Elden Ring will be at the Taipei Game Show in February. Will we see something new from Elden Ring next month? Let's hope so. Elden Ring, From Software's mysterious current project, has been out of the limelight for quite some time since it was first announced at E3 last year. This is out of character for the Japanese developer, who is typically happy to show up at big events with something new all the way leading up to the game's release. With no major events from now until E3, fans are losing faith that we are going to get another glimpse at Elden Ring before June. Help may come from an unlikely place, however. The Taipei Game Show, which takes place February 6th through the 9th, is hosting a PlayStation exhibition. As per usual, Sony brought a number of third-party titles to complement its first-party offering. Elden Ring is one of those games. As revealed by the official site, although the game is going to be at the show, it will not be playable. This may indicate that From Software is getting ready to drop a new trailer, but it's also possible the audience will be treated to a localized version of the E3 2019 trailer. We do hope there is going to be something new for us to see, though. And speaking of new things, the video above has a shorter cut of the same trailer and new logo. It was posted this week by CGI house Digic Pictures, and of course that is brought to us from Daniel Ahmad. But man, I cannot wait for this game. It looks very, very good. Of course, this is the From Software game that's in collaboration with Game of Thrones creator George R.R. Martin. Very, very cool looking lore to be seen here. And overall excited about the experience itself. But will we be seeing something at the Taipei Game Show? It seems like we very well could. I don't want to confirm nor deny anything because I have little to no insight as to what we're going to be seeing from Elden Ring. But it's exciting nonetheless to see that we are starting to talk about it, and this was never going to be a PS4 or Xbox One game. I was confident about that from the very beginning. This game, I think, has more ambition. This game is shooting higher than to be a current-gen crossover kind of game. If you embrace the power that the next-gen consoles are bringing to the table, you can really milk it for all it's worth and create an experience that is truly unlike any other. Now again, this trailer, not new gameplay at all. You just see the new logo. That's pretty much all you get from this. But regardless, very hyped to see more and hear more about this game in the coming months, of course, as we inch ever closer to E3 2020. However, maybe it's going to have a killer soundtrack, and Steam could supply that for you, but it's making big changes to the way the company handles its game soundtracks. One thing about Steam that's always been kind of a low-key pain in the ass is the way it handles game soundtracks. They are sold as DLC, which means you can only buy them if you own the base game, and if you want to download them to your PC, you must have the game installed first. It's also a hassle to manage your music because Steam has no built-in functionality to handle it. You either have to browse for it on your hard drive manually or access it via the DLC tab in the Game Properties menu in your Steam library. It's not the worst thing ever, no, but it sure could be a lot better. As of today, it will be, for new releases at least. Valve has unveiled a new system for game soundtracks on Steam that will decouple them from their associated games and allow them to be sold as standalone new soundtrack apps. That will enable a number of improvements over the DLC system. Customers can now purchase soundtracks without purchasing the base game. Customers can now download soundtracks without downloading the base game. They can browse and manage their owned and downloaded soundtracks directly from the new Steam library. Customers can configure a Steam music directory where all soundtrack content will be placed, rather than having to locate it in subdirectories of game content. Devs can upload and manage soundtrack content entirely through the partner site without using Steam CDMD, and developers can sell soundtracks where the base game itself is not available for sale on Steam. Standalone soundtracks will all be available in a standard MP3 format, but can also be offered in optional higher quality formats like FLAC or WAV files. And they also contain bits of associated content like album art or liner notes? Yeah, there we go, liner notes. I was like, linear notes, what? Liner notes that can be accessed from the soundtrack's details page. A new interface also has been added to Steam that will enable common actions for soundtracks such as playback, browsing, and managing content. The new soundtrack system is live today, but it will take some time before it really makes an impact because existing soundtracks will continue to be treated as DLC unless devs convert them. That doesn't sound like it will be a big deal. Valve has created a tool for developers that will automate the process, but until that's done, you will have to continue accessing your favorite in-game music the old crappy way. This is an initial release of these features for partners, Valve said in the announcement. We are planning on launching these features in a wider way, including a sale event on January the 20th. That could be a soundtrack-specific sale, or it might be the start of the Lunar New Year sale, the first day of the Chinese New Year in 2020, and of course January 25th. So, this is neat, but my question is, in the audience, how many of you guys are actually out there listening to soundtracks on Steam? Of course, there are some phenomenal soundtracks out there. The one that comes to mind for me, the Doom 2016 soundtrack. The thing absolutely rips. and tears. But I always listen to it on YouTube or on Spotify. The majority of gaming soundtracks are on Spotify. So I guess it depends on your habits. I suppose maybe this is more convenient for those that spend the majority of their day at their desk on Steam. Maybe that's where this is coming from. And of course, the option is always nice. You know, you don't have to worry about it in the long run if you do just bundle everything together from a developer point of view. But if you did want to get a soundtrack, it looks like Steam is making it much easier in the coming days, weeks, months, and years. But I wonder how long it will take to convert all of those soundtracks. If the developers want to, a lot of these are probably just going to be abandoned. But I think the biggest thing here is the value that comes from this, because you don't necessarily have to own the game to own the soundtrack. If you do just want the music, by all means, you can totally just do the music. And then if your game might be on the Epic Games Store, you can still buy the soundtrack on Steam, because everybody wants to buy music these days, right? Right. Anyways, PlayStation Brazil has tweeted out a 2020 release for Overwatch 2, but has quickly deleted it. Overwatch 2 has been a rather controversial sequel ever since its announcement at BlizzCon, bringing with it a PvE campaign and working in unison with the original game's multiplayer offerings. But when is it going to release? The PlayStation Brazil Twitter account reckons it's launching this year on PS4, but it's either had a change of heart or broke the news too early, as the tweet has now been deleted. Spotted by VG247, the official Twitter account made the claim before promptly deleting it. However, Voxel managed to grab a screenshot, which you can see for yourself below. However, can we actually read too much into this? Upon the game's announcement, director Jeff Kaplan claimed that even he doesn't know when Overwatch 2 will release. I have a feeling we'll be talking about Overwatch 2 again next year at BlizzCon, if that helps. This led us to believe that the title is almost certainly a PlayStation 5 game, and that is a strong possibility, but in 2020, we don't think so. They say a push square. Next year seems much more likely that the supposed lacking amount of content will be Next year seems much more likely, despite the supposedly lacking amount of content it'll be packing. What a strange sentence. Anyways, you're not going to be getting Overwatch 2 this year. There's no way. It makes no sense, because Overwatch 2 is confidently going to do better as a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X game, because of the fact that the differences between the two games are relatively minimal. In fact, it's pretty much just a giant update. That really is what it seems to be. And so as more time is put into Overwatch 2, as more new changes are made, it seems like people will be more willing to pick it up on the next generation of consoles instead of just updating what they've got with the original Overwatch or updating something else. And so with that being taken into consideration, it seems like PlayStation Brazil might have just been a bit off on this one. But again, there's no definitive release date here, like not a December 15th or anything like that. It just says 2020, so they could have been generalizing, but I think you're going to be seeing this one 2021, maybe 2022. Would even make more sense for this. But if Jeff Kaplan says that you're not going to be getting it, you're probably not going to be getting it in 2020. However, the Nintendo console sales in Japan were higher than ever in 2019. It's no secret that Nintendo Switch has been a runaway success all around the world, with at least 41.67 million units sold. That being said, last year turned out to be specifically great in Japan, according to data recently released by Famitsu. The data, which was originally posted by @Oscar Lemaire and translated by DualShockers' own senior staff writer Ayan Agosa, shows that not only is Nintendo dominating the country's gaming hardware scene, but that 2019 was a general high point for Nintendo as well. That tweet reveals that 80% of the console market in Japan is dominated by Nintendo, with 76% being solely dedicated to Nintendo Switch. While the 3DS is clearly declining in popularity, the Switch's outstanding success has made the drop negligible. These same numbers also reveal that Nintendo Switch sales saw a radical increase increased 29%, cementing Nintendo's renewed foothold in the region it is based out of. When the timeline is broadened, Nintendo's performance still remains impressive. Oscar Lemaire also points out that looking at Famitsu's data from 1999 to 2019 reveals that last year was the best year ever for Nintendo in terms of console sales. For a company that's been around this industry ever since the beginning, it's an impressive feat. And of course, with the great lineup of games like Super Mario Maker 2 and Pokemon Sword and Shield, 2019 will certainly be a Nintendo Switch year to remember. And of course, you can always jump onto the Nintendo bandwagon with the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch Lite. But dominating 80% of the Japanese console market in 2019 is a very, very, very big deal. Now, this is not something, again, that's shocking, because over in that part of the world, mobile gaming is a much, much bigger part of the general lives of the public. Now, of course, you might be saying, Sam, have you seen the Nintendo Switch in America? Absolutely. Tons of people at my work have them. They bring them to work. They play at lunch. Cool. But a lot of people in Japan commute. They walk on foot, whatever it might be. And so mobile gaming is huge over there, and it always has been, always will be. And so with the Nintendo Switch ultimately being one of the highest quality experiences for the on-the-go gamer, by all means, it makes sense for it to be doing very well in 2019, and I would say it's going to continue to do well in 2020. And now, yesterday, we talked about the fact that a brand new Nintendo Switch SKU could be coming out in 2020 that could be a potential Nintendo Switch Pro, but a lot of analysts are kind of on the fence about that one. Some say yay, some say nay. However, it could be another big year for Nintendo, depending on what they do to combat the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. But right now, a radical increase of 29% for the Nintendo Switch sales. That's pretty notable right there. Good on Nintendo for creating a device that has brought them back from the brink, because it's worth mentioning. People thought Nintendo might get sold out. They were like, hey, publish your games. Just put Mario on Xbox, boom, you're good to go. But no, they stuck by themselves. They made the Switch. They made it happen. They're good. Kudos to you. However, finally, to round out today's show, development on Resident Evil 3 is almost complete according to producers. The turnaround on Resident Evil 3 seems insanely fast, doesn't it? The follow-up to the excellent remake of Resident Evil 2 is scheduled to arrive just over a year later, which feels very quick. A lot of the groundwork for this next installment will have come from 2019's entry, but it's still an impressive achievement. Perhaps even more so is that it sounds like development is basically done already. Capcom producers Peter Fabiano and Maso Kawanda recently talked to Famitsu. After mentioning the 3rd of April release date, the pair speak about the current state of the game, saying development is almost completed and estimate the title is about 90% done. They also promise there will be no delay. It's encouraging to hear the progress is being made so smoothly. Though the game is not totally finished, it sounds like the team is down to fine-tuning it at this point. Hopefully the end result will be another well-polished experience. There's still about 3 months to go until the release of RE3, so are you excited for another Resi remake on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC? You know it, baby. I'm a big fan of Resident Evil 2, and the author says the turnaround was very quick. Yes, technically, but this game has been in development for much longer than 1 year. Make no mistake about it. I would say the development on Resident Evil 3 probably began slightly after Resident Evil 2, and that's something that's been reported on before, but I think that Capcom had a long-term plan here, and I wouldn't even be shocked to hear that another remake was already in the works. That just makes sense to me. But again, April the 3rd is when you are going to be getting your hands on Resident Evil 3. And man, if Resident Evil 2's remake is anything to go off of, they're doing them right. They're doing it well. And Capcom is killing it in terms of these remakes. Cannot wait to see what else they have in store. But glad to hear it's 90% of the way done, give or take. That 10% going to be knocked out in the next couple of months. And who knows, if this one sells as well as the Resident Evil 2 remake, you could be seeing a brand new remake kind of culture coming up over there at Capcom. But with that being said, that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. Of course, if you guys enjoyed today's show, be sure to drop me a like down below and let me know what you think about all of the stories we covered. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.